Good morning, everyone. It's March the 7th, 2024. Today I want to talk a little about, actually expand on a little bit about what happened with the injection sites shutting down there and the fumes affecting the workers that staff at the sites. It's my own personal story, but it's something that many people are not aware of. And some people are probably aware of that there's many people out in our society that are very sensitive to various drugs. And I think this is worthwhile talking about. And some of my experiences with this problem that I do have. I have drug sensitivity from the time I was a child, probably along with my allergies and my bronchitis and everything else that goes along with it. But I want to start off with a story that happened to me. And this was with at the time, it was pot. It was illegal back in the day. It's only been recently, the last few years, that it's been legalized. But I want to talk about this incident that happened to me. And it was, I'll never forget the date. It was Halloween, 1978. Quite a date. I'll never forget that date. It was a day I was working, and as you're well aware of, I was a security guard. And this particular evening, I was working. I had a 4 to 12 shift, and it was very interesting because I went to work, as usual, dressed in uniform. I was working in government buildings at the time, so everything was supposed to be very secure in these buildings. So I'd come in to work from the 4 to 12 p.m. shift, and I sat down and I started putting the date on my papers, and all of a sudden I was noticing a lot of people coming back and forth out of this one room, and I thought that was a bit strange. And then I realized that there was a party going on in this room, and I thought, okay, it's just a simple retirement party. Well, I was in for a bit of a shock, and it was, this party was I was in a long hallway, let's put it that way, extremely long hallway. The party was in a very back room, in the very back room at the end of the hallway. My guard post was right in the front of the hallway so that I could look through my door, look through the door out of the hallway, and see the great big glass doors for the front doors of the building. So we were well separated. So I thought, gee, this is strange, all these people coming and going, and normally I didn't start actually having people signing in and out until 5, and I thought, this is a lot of people. So something in my head told me I better get people to sign in and out. So that's exactly what I did. I started getting people to sign in and out, because there just seemed to be so much traffic, and I'm thinking, boy, this must be a great retirement party. It must be very popular because people are in and out of that room. Little did I know how important that was going to be later in the evening. So so everything seemed to break up around 5:30. It was all nice and quiet, and I guess I left the door open to the party room, and I'm sitting with my door open and down at the far end of the hallway again, and I'm just reading a book. So all of a sudden, what happens? It's really strange. I'm reading my book, and all of a sudden the words are going blurry on the page, and I'm shaking my head, and okay, a couple moments later, they're going blurry again, the words. And I'm thinking, what in the world am I coming down with? Am I getting sick? And so I thought, okay, maybe what I need is some fresh air. So as soon as I walked out my door, guess what I smelled? Nothing but the pot in the air, or the marijuana, because it's called by both. And I said, oh no, I'm getting stoned. So I grabbed a bit of fresh air right away from the outside, went back in and thought, this is not good. I better call my my security office. So I called them up. The dispatch right away sent our patrol officer down to check on me to make sure I was all right. I explained the situation. And when he came in, and then we both went back to the room where the party was, and much to my surprise, I hadn't even noticed it. I was getting a little out of it at that point. That when we went around, of course, the pot seeds and the remnants of all this pot were in the ashtrays at the time. So he said, all right, I can write this up. So he was writing this up because I came out and I said, well, I know. Because of my ex-husband, the police officer, getting into drugs, I knew this was what was happening to me, and I explained it to him. He says, okay, because my ex got me, forcing me into smoking the pot, and sometimes I was not in the same room with him, and I was still getting high, even though I wasn't directly smoking the pot. So I had this experience. I explained everything to the patrol officer. He said, fine, don't worry, I'm writing this down, you're covered, and I'm going to leave. Are you okay? And I said, yeah, I should be okay. The building's now empty. The front door's locked. I should be fine. And he said, well, I'll come back. I have a couple of runs I have to do, but I'll come back and check on you a little bit later. And I said, okay, fine. So I go back, and I can't really read at the moment, but I'm just sitting there. And, of course, I'm just like, ooh, yeah, I'm starting to feel pretty good. And then the next thing I know, I hear this knock on the front door. And it's just knock, knock, knock. And I look over, and of course the glass doors where they are, they're right to the ground. There's nobody there. Okay, this is a little weird. Am I feeling okay? So I went back and to what I was doing, just sitting there. Next thing I know, knock, knock, knock on the front door again. And I look over, and there's nothing there. I said, oh boy, I must be really starting to get high. I'm now hearing and seeing things that aren't there. So I just settled in. I said, okay, I just have to wait for my patrol officer to show up, and I'll get this straightened out. And the next thing I know, knock, 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 number 3. What do I see? Looking at, sitting there at the front door was a black cat. There's a black cat sitting, knocking on the front doors. And I'm going, oh boy, am I having an experience here. Now I'm really hallucinating, maybe? And there's a black cat sitting at the front door? No, that can't be. So I turned away, shook my head again. Next thing I know, knock, knock, knock. There's a 4th knock on the front door. I look over, the black cat's still sitting there. But fortunately, this time I see the fist above the black cat. And I'm saying, oh no, somebody's come to the door. So anyhow, I turned around and I got up out of the chair, went to let the man in because I assumed that he worked there. And of course, the old superstition about the black cat walking in front of people. Well, the cat darted. Cat totally darted right in front of me, inside the building, right in front of the man, and the man is up against the wall suddenly. It ran in front of me. And of course, by this time, I'm not completely thinking straight. So I left him flat against the wall, repeating himself, and I started running after the cat, trying to get the cat scooped up and put out. And of course, I left the keys in the door, which I never do. And next thing I know, the cat decides to take a sharp right, and of course, I'm all off balance. I took a sharp left, slammed into the wall, ended up sitting on the floor, and I'm laughing my head off. And the next minute, I feel these very strong arms underneath me, lifting me up off the floor. And of course, I'm laughing. Turns out, guess who just showed up? With the government security, they had what was called, I don't know the full name of it, but it was called DSS security at the time. And they, not only do we, as guards in our patrol, for our guard company comes around to check on us, the government security comes around to check on us. So it was one of the government security had pulled me up. The other poor guy was trying to calm the guy down from the black cat, and they managed to get the cat out of the situation. So I'm thinking, oh boy, this is some Halloween with somebody playing a joke on me, and I'm trying to explain it all. In the meantime, they put a call into my guard company, and of course the patrol officer doubled back right away, and then he explained what was going on to the poor DSS, the government security, as to what was going on. And then we went back and we showed him the pot seeds and everything in the ashtrays in the back room, and I explained what I had done, had everybody signing in and out, and what I had done and what had fully happened. And so I wasn't in any trouble at all. But I also realized then, oh, there's half empty liquor bottles there that I hadn't even seen on this party. So no wonder there was such a party going on. But it ended up, because it was a government building, it ended up going to RCMP because it had to be investigated. So it turned out that the best thing that happened was that because I had fully documented it, and my patrol officer documented it, that all those people that I signed in and out, the RCMP had a lot of people to question on what was actually going on that day. But I have many, many stories about this, and people don't realize this. People are very, very sensitive to drugs. I've got stoned on Benadryl. I've even aspirin. If I want to get stoned on it, I can just start popping aspirins. That's an over-the-counter thing. And then I was talking to a person, a doctor, many years ago, and he said, yes, there's actually a medical term for this. It's a medical condition that people have. So I'm not surprised in a way that these fumes affected whatever was in that little cooker, affected the staff at the injection site. So, what people don't realize is that, actions, whatever your actions are, there's always consequences, as my grandfather used to explain to me, whether they're good or bad. There's always consequences. So, we're trying to do something good with the injection sites. We just found out something, that maybe these people were sensitive to drugs and didn't know it. But I have many stories about this. But again, it's going to be kind of a long interview, or a long session here today, but I'm just going to cut it short. And I just wanted to make people realize that people have drug sensitivity. And this is the same thing, let's say, with the secondhand smoke from the cigarettes that we're now finding, and people are getting it. And there are people who are not even smoking the cigarettes are also getting cancer as well. So I just want to leave it there today. And everyone, take care, have a great day, and be aware of your surroundings, and certainly be safe. And we shall talk again later. And bye-bye. Take care.